In this video, I will be talking about an information system that was developed for the organization in which I work, an information system that was developed to manage field staff and their work. So first we have to set the context in which this information system was built by talking about the organization for which I work, which is the National Statistical Office. The National Statistical Office, or NSO in my country, working in this place has certain implications. For example, the first one is that it is a non-for-profit organization. This means that some traditional business models or business processes that apply to the rest of the commercial world do not apply for this organization. For example, there is no marketing and sales department, there is no strategic planning to improve or increase the profits, and so on. But we do have other efficiencies that we wish to improve and a mission that we hope to carry out. And our information systems must reflect our mission. And one thing that is central to all statistical offices is the survey. At the National Statistical Office for which I work with, data collection is collected through many means, but one of them is through household interviews, personal interviewing. The data collection instruments that are used are usually in electronic format, such as tablets, and this is important to mention because this means that the data is available almost instantaneously when it is being collected. Another thing to consider is that there are many temporary workers or staff that are hired to work in these surveys, and most of them are paid per unit. For example, there's a certain rate depending on the survey that they are paid per completed questionnaire or completed household. For example, $30 per completed household in one particular survey, that might be a rate. And we also use a free but not open source, it's proprietary data collection platform called Survey Solutions. This is by the World Bank, and we use it to collect our data. And this data then we can export it and use it for our own purposes, as we will see soon. Another thing to consider is that because we are a non-for-profit body, a statutory body, and from a small developing country, traditional enterprise systems to manage certain things like our transactions and our decision support systems, these enterprise systems and ERPs are outside of our budget. So this is some of the context that we have to work with. So now we talk about the problem that arose for which we needed an information system, an integrated information system, and it stems from the fact that we mentioned that we run several surveys per year, sometimes in parallel. This means that there will be many temporary field workers that are hired that must be managed. This includes managing their payment. This is typically a role that a transaction processing system plays in an organization, but in our organization, for an interviewer to be paid, each questionnaire needs to be approved by a member of the survey unit team. This means that somebody outside of finance has to first look at the questionnaire or the unit that must be paid and approve it. Also, survey work must be monitored, and if necessary, action must be taken. For example, whatever is happening in the field in terms of how people are responding, which are the response rates, or how the selected sample is being covered, that must be monitored by a system and a decision must be taken. Usually, this type of systems we call decision support systems. So we needed something that brought all of this together and allowed for the payment of the field staff and for the work to be monitored. So the solution that we came up with, the system that we built, the IT team at the NSO, of which I am a part of, was to create an integrated survey management system, or SMS, that had a full payroll integration. It had to be integrated with our existing payroll system, and that is for easy management, monitoring, and payment processing for the survey and all of its staff, and the logistics, meaning monitoring the logistics. This meant bringing features or functionalities from traditionally transaction processing systems, which is payroll and payment, which decision support systems, which would be monitoring of certain things in order to take decisions, looking at reports and taking action. As I had mentioned, this resulted in the SMS, or the survey management system, and helped us look at some of the things that we do as a business process instead of the functional approach. This means that certain key components from our processes were integrated, such as the survey monitoring for quality assurance, the human resource management of temporary field staff, and the payment of them is also integrated in many ways into the system. And as I mentioned, the processing of payment that is usually done by the payroll department or the finance department. So the resulting system, the SMS, has the following properties or functionalities. First, it allows for the processing of the staff wages, and it is integrated with the payroll system automatically, so whatever is submitted with details from the system goes automatically to the payroll for approval from the finance department. It's also integrated with the Survey Solution server. As I mentioned before, Survey Solution is what we use to collect the data. So actually the payment items for which you are paying for, those questionnaires can be opened and reviewed via the Survey Solution server, so you know what you're paying for. Also, it has field monitoring functionalities that allow certain things to be monitored about the survey, such as the response rates and how the sample is being covered. There's also a feature for monitoring certain indicators or measurements that come up from the survey, such as for the labor force survey, we're looking at certain statuses such as unemployment status, persons not in the labor force, employment rates. So we can take an early look at that in using this system and they take decisions. There's also a feature for consistency checks. That means that batch reports for errors and inconsistencies that can happen in the data, reports for that also exist within the same system and help those in charge to make decisions. So these are some screenshots from the system. This is the screen where individual questionnaire units are approved. So there is information for each questionnaire collected, and then somebody takes the decision to either check the checkbox if it would be paid for or not. And then afterwards, after all the individual questionnaire units have been approved for a particular person for a particular time period, it can be sent directly to the payroll system by clicking on the approve button that we can see right there. Then what we have right here are what we call field monitoring tables, or information that helps us make decisions in terms of how the field work is going to be carried out. For example, response rates, how the people are responding or actually answering to the questionnaire in the field. We also can have an early look at the indicators that we collect during the survey, such as in this case labor force statuses, the number of people that are unemployed, that are employed, that are not in the labor force, and we can take a closer look at that. Or we can look at consistency checks or survey cases that fail certain requirements in terms of their consistency, that may have errors that need to be addressed or sent back for correction. That is also included in the system. Also this year we have already begun to introduce new features for better human resource management. For example, a portal where field supervisors or those that are supervising data collection can enter feedback for headquarters use, feedback on each household in the sample. So that is coming soon and we're working on that. And that's it. That's my presentation, my video on my information system that I helped create, which is the SMS, or survey management system. Thank you.